Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another great day to discuss other people's excellence. I'm the unforgettable one himself, Mr. Brett Carroll, and I'm just the guy that likes DJ me at work, or BS at work, I should say. We are back to do rounds two and three. I did a little bit differently this time. I wanted to speed up the process. And take away some of the dead space. So what I did was I did all the picks already except for the last one. I'll just go through what I did in rounds two and three so you can still hear my thought process with the picks, and then we'll do the last pick together. All right. So let's get started. All right. So as we start off with round two, the Panthers at 33, we already have a bit of a surprise pick. What I decided to do, they've needed a tight end since Greg Olson left, and it's been a long time, and they haven't been able to find one, and they need one. And this tight end class is not good. Besides the top two guys, there's not really any tight end that you would want in this draft. So what I decided, now that they have 33 and 39, I was pretty happy with some of the receivers that were still on the board. So I just went ahead, and even though it's a little bit of a reach, I went ahead and took Javion Sanders right away to get that tight end that we desperately needed and go from there. And then the Patriots taking Bo Nix here made a lot of sense. They passed up on taking the quarterback. They got draft picks. They did what they had to do. And now Bo Nix is still here at 34. You go ahead and take him. Um, Cardinals, Liatu Latu gets some edge help along that defensive line. Continue to bolster it that way. Washington, they traded away their pass rushers. They need pass rushing, so he got some help. And then with the Chargers, I went Jalen Polk. We got Roma Doomsday in the first round, and I said, you know what? We got to replace the two receivers that we got rid of already. Why not get the two Washington guys back together? Jalen Polk back with Roma Doomsday for the Chargers. Christian Haynes for the Titans, continue to shore up that offensive line, help out Will Levis going forward. And then at 39, Keon Coleman still here. Like I said, I like the receivers that were still there for the Panthers. You go ahead and take him at 39. So you got your big tall receiver for Bryce Young to go along with Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen. And now uh Saunders at tight end. Now, if you're Bryce Young, you have a full complement of weapons. No more excuses. We got to see what you got going on. I know that offensive line still needs to get taken care of, but still, at least you have the weapons. With Washington, Chop Robinson being here, decided to take him again, replace all the pass rushers that you got rid of for a cheaper price. Made sense to me. Uh, Kingsley Sumatea for the Green Bay Packers, shoring up that offensive line, getting that tackle that they need going forward. Darius Robinson for the Houston Texans. I like this pick because he could play edge. He could potentially kick inside. They want to build up that defensive line. You know with D'Amico Ryans, he wants a nasty defense. It starts here. The Falcons getting Kamari Lassiter made sense. They need corner. I would assume that they have a lot of tape on Georgia and have a good perspective on Georgia, so they would be more comfortable with Laster than anybody else. Xavier Worthy, my last mock, I had him go in the first round. Here, they let him fall to them in the second round. They still get their guy. They're got to be happy with that. The Saints, Jordan Morgan, getting that tackle that they need to try to help out that offensive line. The Colts, I passed on Brian Thomas in the first round, so I wanted to get him a wide receiver here with Roman Wilson. Michael Penix to the Giants, getting a quarterback that could potentially be the future. And what I like about this, he could sit this year, wait behind Daniel Jones, learn a little bit, and then going into next year, 2025, you might have your quarterback of the future. Um, The Jaguars, Christian Mahogany, getting that offensive line, helping out, protecting Trevor Lawrence. He got banged up last year. I know they don't want to see that again. Joe Burrow also getting some protection, and Kieran, I'm not even going to try to say that last name, the tackle out of Yale to help them. Peyton Wilson, a really good linebacker going to the Philadelphia Eagles. TJ Tampa, a big long strong corner. I know we got Dante Jackson, but I think we're gonna play him in the slot. This could be our corner two next to Joey Porter Jr. So now we have our two bookend corners for the future, and they're both, tall, lanky, physical corners. That's what we want. I think Steeler Nation will be very happy with that. The Rams getting Ennis Rakestraw Jr., another good corner that they need for their backfield, defensive backfield, I should say. Lad McConkey is a slot receiver for the Eagles. I know a lot of Eagles fans get mad when I make picks like this for wide receiver, but they could use a slot receiver. You know they like Georgia players, so it made a lot of sense to me. I think they had other picks after this, so it's not like they're missing out on anything. Junior Colson going to the Browns. I think that's a really good first pick for them. Ruka Korafor on the defensive interior for the Dolphins. Uh, Mike Saint still. I forgot. I do not know how to say that last name. Helping out that cornerback room. For the Cowboys, they want some more help besides Trayvon Diggs back there. Continue to improve that defense. Trey Benson, I thought was a really good pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and give them some explosiveness out of the backfield that they need. Chris Jenkins on that defensive line for the Packers, I thought was a good thing. You know they're gonna want to go defense first. That's what the Packers do. They like doing offensive line and defense first. So that's why I went with their first couple of picks. Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker for Tennessee again. I mean, for Houston again. You know they want to get that defense together. They want that to be a top unit, and he will definitely help them with that. Arizona, I know they already have Marvin Harrison Jr., but again, they don't have any receivers. Hollywood Brown is gone. They traded Rondell Moore. So right now, they don't have anybody that's like a receiver over there. So why not get another receiver? Jalen McMillan, he's kind of like the unsung hero for Washington. I think he'd be a really good number two, next to Marvin Harrison Jr., for Kyler Murray and that Arizona offense. Uh, the Lions, Adisa Isaac, get another Big Ten pass rusher to go on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. I love that for them. The Ravens also needed edge, so I got Jonah Ellis out of Utah. Again, as a Steelers fan, I hate this pick, but it makes a lot of sense. I double dipped at corner for San Francisco and getting Kyrie Jackson, another tall corner, with upside that I think that they would like. And then Jermaine Burton. I know they got Hollywood Brown. To me, that's not a great upgrade. Hollywood Brown is a guy that has left two teams now that desperately needed receivers, and they still got rid of him, right? When he was with the Ravens, they needed a receiver. They still need a receiver. Hence, I had them draft a receiver in the first round. Went to Arizona, they need receivers. They let him go. So as talented as Hollywood Brown is, he's obviously not a long-term answer at the wide receiver position. So I still have them taking Jermaine Burton here. On to round three for the Panthers. Cedric Van Pran is here. They desperately need a center. Now you're helping out that offensive line. So again, if you're Bryce Young, you should be very happy. You got a mauler on the inside of Cedric Van Pran. You got weapons on the outside now, including a tight end. If you're Bryce Young and the Panthers, you should be absolutely over the moon about this. I know that defense is going to suffer, and I didn't address the defense, but it's obvious by the moves they made in the offseason. They're not worried about the defense this year. They want to make sure that the guy that they traded up to get is in the best position possible to be successful. I think they're going to go all in on the offense here. They're going to get receivers, they're going to get offense line help. That's what they're going to do. And maybe in 2025, they'll go back to try to fix the defense, which I'm not mad at. They weren't good. And they sacrificed a good I think they had the fourth ranked defense last year. They've obviously said, well, we will sacrifice defense to make sure that we're a better offense because that's what we need to get better at. Braden Fitz, I couldn't see him falling any further. So I had him go to Buffalo. I had Buffalo trading up actually to get him help their defensive interior. Blake Fisher to the Washington help shore up their offensive line. Austin Booker as an edge for the Patriots. Jim Harbaugh, they need a running back. You know he's going to take his guy Blake Corum, the guy that helped him finally win a national championship. I do like the fit, obviously. For the Chargers, Cooper Beebe falls here to the Giants. I know Joe Anderson, if you're watching this, I know you're very happy about this pick. Um, again, showing up that offensive line. And again, if you're Daniel Jones, now or never, we got you a all-world talent and Malik Neighbors. Um, yeah, we got Michael Penix, but he's not gonna replace you at least this year. And now we got some offensive line help to help you out. That's what you got to do. Uh, the Cardinals, I triple dipped at wide receiver. The Cardinals have so many picks that I try to do different things with them every mock. This time I triple dipped at wide receiver because again, they don't have any receivers. They literally don't have any receivers. I think Brandon Rice could play decent slot receiver for them. And again, if you're Kyler Murray, like we're seeing this in the NFL now, you can't have too many receivers. If you're Kyler Murray giving Marvin Harrison Jr., McMillan, and now Brandon Rice, you have a beautiful trio of young receivers. So if you're Kyler Murray, you're stoked. And if you're the Cardinals, maybe next year, if you're ready to move on for Kyler, and I don't know what the contract situation is, if it's easier to get rid of him after next year, cool. Whoever your next quarterback is, they'll already have a young trio of receivers to throw to. So I really like this for the Cardinals, triple dipping at wide receiver to uh to make sure that this offense is as explosive as it can be. Tez Walker for the Jets makes a lot of sense. They got to get somebody else besides Garrett Wilson on that offense to throw to. Tez Walker, he has a little bit of the dropsies, but he's still a pretty good player. I like, especially being a number two. I like that pick for them. For the Lions, Zach Center shoring up that offensive line is key. For the Falcons, I gotta be honest with you, I was stuck on this pick for a long time. I guess I just went with best player available because there wasn't much at this spot that I liked for them. Anaya Smith, slot receiver for uh the Bears. You got your two monsters outside. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, no rookie in the top five has ever gone to a team with two 1,200 plus yard receivers in the same year. Caleb Williams will be the first to do that, but they can still use a slot guy. Anaya Smith should be a fantastic slot receiver, especially with those two guys on the outside. I love that pick. Denver taking Drake Nugent, again, helping that offensive line. The Raiders, they need a running back. Jalen Wright made a lot of sense to me. So I do, some people think he might be the best running back in this class. It's a pretty good running back class, and there's a couple guys that could put their feather in their cap for number one for RB1. He's one of them. So I went with that. Washington, continuing to work on the defense, getting Javon Bullard. I just thought, he was falling too far. So I like that pick for them. Atlanta picked again, and I had De'Vondre Sweat. And I believe I did it because I had them taking Byron Murphy in the first. Let me just, yeah. So having both of them on that defensive line to me made a lot of sense. I like that pick for them. So that's why I did that. Spencer Rattler to the Saints. Again, a guy that can sit behind Derek Carr, learn. He has all the arm talent. He has the physical, the physical stuff. It's the leadership. It's the mental aspect of the game. Sitting behind a guy like Derek Carr might do him some good, and prepare him to be a good pro. If not a spectacular backup. Braylon Trice again was falling way too far. Made too much sense for him not to go to Seattle. Jordan Hicks to help the corner, the defensive back room in Indianapolis. Jeremiah Trotter for LA. Again, with Aaron Donald retiring, I don't know what the kind of direction they want to be in, but they still have some other players, including Stafford. So you think they're still trying to win now. So just continue to work on that defense because their offense is still pretty good when healthy with Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup. The Steelers, I wasn't thrilled with this pick. I'm not the biggest fan of Patrick Paul, but he was literally the only tackle left, and we had to go tackle. To me, I think center and tackle are the two positions of all the positions we have to do in this draft. So Patrick Paul is the pick there. Brandon Dorlus for uh the Browns. Again, they only have like two picks. Um, but I think they made them both count. I like both of those picks. Ronaldo Green to help in the cornerback room for the Texans. Jonathan Brooks again. The Cowboys missed on a lot of running backs. Potentially Saquon was supposed to be interested in. Derrick Henry was supposed to be interested in. Oh, they lost Tony Pollard. Like all the running backs that were on the market, they didn't get any of them. So they got to go get one again. Jonathan Brooks. A lot of people think he might be RB1 in this class. So for them to get him at 87 is great value. I think they should be very happy with that. I double dipped at safety. I double dipped at safety. Um, I do think that the Packers would like to use. Uh, I know I got Newman in the first round, but getting Cameron Kitchens is another guy I think they would like to have mess around with stuff like that. I got Johnny Wilson here for the Buccaneers for two reasons. One, there's not a better wide receiver for him to learn behind than Mike Evans. And now that Mike Evans has returned and will probably retire as a Buccaneer, he's the perfect guy to like teach him to be his protege and stuff like that. And two, if you don't think he can do it, they need a tight end. He's a guy that if he doesn't develop as a wide receiver, they could develop him as a tight end. So I thought this was a great move. And again, they had a bunch of picks already. This was like their last pick. So I thought that made a lot of sense. Tommy Eichenberg for the Bills, I thought he was just a great fit for what they want to do at linebacker. I had the Steelers trade up to get Javon Baker, um, needing a wide receiver. I like his game, especially if we can sign Mike Williams or Tyler Boyd. If he's like our third receiver, I really like this pick. And again, we're great at drafting and developing receivers anyway. So a guy with his upside, I think the Steelers would love that. Max Melton for Tampa Bay. Um, obviously, Greg Schiano is an ex-coach there. He might still have ties to the building. So I'm sure if they call around and ask about Max Melton, they have direct contact with Schiano and he'll give him a rave review. I like Max Melton. Um, I think he's a good fit. The Ravens, not Goncalves, I think that's how you say it. I'm so sorry. Again, they need help on our offensive line. The offensive line class is really weird because it's like after the first 5 to 7 guys, there's a huge drop off. So you kind of have to get what you can get. So I went ahead and got Matt here for the Ravens. At the end of the third round, I don't think it's bad value. Uh, Dominic Pooney for San Francisco. Again, at this point, you just got to take what you can get at the tackle position and hope that you can develop some of these guys. A lot of these guys are good. They're just very raw and they need to get coached up. So I kind of waited on the developmental guys to go to teams that are usually good at developing those type of positions. The Ravens usually have good offensive linemen. Same thing with San Francisco. So I trust that they can develop these guys into their full potential. Um, Gabriel Murphy to me was just best player available. Somebody that they could get on the edge to help out. Malachi Corley is really good, like slot receiver. They got rid of Calvin Ridley. Maybe he could be that replacement. Jamari Thrash, I figured this late makes a lot of sense for the Bengals. They already are without Tyler Boyd, they might be losing out on T. Higgins. I know I had them traded for Brock Bowers, but still, if you can have another good trio of receivers with Brock Bowers, now that offense is just completely unstoppable. So it made a lot of sense. Marshawn Nealon is a guy that I feel like the Packers would know very well and would want to work with. Um, and again, just helping out that offensive line. And again, at this point of the draft, you're taking best player available. He was the best player available. Michael Pratt is an interesting quarterback. Again, I don't know how much more time Stafford wants to play. I don't know how much time the Rams want to utilize this team. I don't think Michael Pratt could be the guy of the future, but he could develop into a really solid backup behind Matthew Stafford and stuff like that. So now here we are at the last pick of the draft. Washington is on the board again, and we've gone mostly defense. We got our two edge rushers. Let's see what else we did for Washington. We got our two edge rushers. We got a safety in Javon Bullard. Um, we got a tackle. So they've had a bunch of picks, and they've been, they got their two edge rushers, and then obviously they have Drake May. So they've had a pretty good draft so far. Um, and the only thing they're really missing is tight end. Again, not the greatest tight end class, but here at the end of the third round, I think I'm cool with taking a guy like Theo Johnson. Um, yeah, okay. So apparently he's a really good blocker who needs to be a little bit better of a pass catcher, but I think that's okay. They have decent receivers already. If he can help blocking, which is good because the offensive line needs help. So if he's a great blocker so basically he's the opposite of Pat Freiermuth, who we got from Penn State. Pat Freiermuth was a really good receiving tight end that can't block. This is a really good blocking tight end who needs to develop as a pass catcher. But in this offense, I think they might be okay with that. I think with the wide receivers they have, and now that they're fixing the offensive line, if he can also be an asset in the run game and an asset in the pass blocking game and just utilize him on third down as a receiver, I kind of like that. So that will be the last pick of this mock draft. I appreciate you guys, man. You can find me at Never for Brett Me. That's NEVA underscore the number four BRETT underscore ME on Twitter and Instagram and Threads. We are at the underscore dope blog on Instagram and Threads. We're the dope blog, all one word on Twitter. And because you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe, and follow us next time as we continue to discuss other people's excellence. Deuces.